Coming through.
No. Welcome to BumbleKast Live. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me is my live co-host, Kyle, JCRB Kraus.
Hello, hello, hello. Ignore that small hiccup at the beginning there. You didn't hear or see anything at all, probably.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Pay no attention to those men behind the curtain.
Nope. Nope. Do not pay attention to us, please. We're very skittish.
All right, before we jump right into things, a little bit of news stuff. If you're listening to this on Monday, we've got a special guest episode and another BumbleKast mini lined up to wrap up the month and lead us into September. If you're also listening to this on Monday, head over to twitter.com. Somebody decided they wanted a Big the Cat character episode, so we're going to have details on how you can submit your Q&A to Big the Cat. What have I started?
I'm looking forward to him being on the show. You think he can keep up? You think he can keep up with that, Ian? Think he can handle that?
He's definitely got a big presence, so. And for this show itself, we'll answer as many questions as we can within the time allotment. What is Jen screaming?
She's asking if you're going to find Foggy.
Quite possibly.
Okay,
Quite
good.
Possibly.
We'll discover. We'll figure it out. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
For this show, please limit yourself to one question at a time. Ask the one, wait for it to be answered, then ask the next, so we can try to get one for everybody if we can, if time allows, and get guaranteed answers today by sending us a super chat of nigh upon any denomination. If you send like a 1 penny one, I think that doesn't count. Can you do that?
I think there's a minimum. I think it's like a dollar limit or whatever.
All right,
which is fine.
And in the event that we can't get through all the super chats, because that happened last month, which is terrifying, those will be rolled over to the next round of priority Q&A. So
yes,
that's all the news. That's all the rules. We've already wasted 4 minutes of the day. Let's do it. Let's go.
All the news that's fit to print. We'll go ahead and just jump right into it right now, though. From a question from Metal Skulkbane. You win. You're first. Woo-hoo! To the Ghost of Starline. In Operation Remaster, what was the long-term planning in replacing heroes? After killing Sonic, was Surge meant to pretend to be your nemesis or something?
I don't think he really thought it all the way through. Like, he had this grand idea of manipulating the narrative, but I don't think he could have maintained the role of villain for too long. He loves the spotlight too much. He would want to have it both ways. He'd want to be the hero and the villain, and then he would just muck up his own plan. But he never got that far, so there you go.
What? You mean he didn't see the forest for the trees? Just like his idol, Dr. Eggman. Wow, they have a lot in common.
Just imagine that bit from the Robin Hood Daffy cartoon where he's going yoinks and away and hitting a tree all the way down.
Yeah, something like that. All right, here's a question from Honey and Lemon. What do you think would be Sonic's go-to Big Brother methods to help comfort and calm down Tails during a thunderstorm?
I think it would depend on when he's being the big brother type of thing. I think if we're talking like early in the relationship, he would like grab up Tails and run them through the storm to show that there's nothing to be afraid of. It's lightning. He's faster than that. Zip, zip, zip. Which would, absolutely terrify Tails.
Yes.
But I think in our modern sensibilities, Sonic, he would actually chill out for a second and just chill with Tails. Like, just be there in the room with him to comfort him and, just be a calming presence.
Or at least a distracting one. Like he could, play video games with him and keep the sound turned up loud enough to kind of try and drown out the lightning. Drown out the thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. Here's a question from Delazox. Scenario: Tails and Shadow are trapped somewhere together with no hope of escape. Are having to wait for rescue. To pass the time, what do you think the two would talk about? Do they get along?
No. I mean, Tails tries, bless his heart. Lots of topics to try out, little probing questions here and there, actively trying to figure a way to get off of wherever they are before rescue arrives, because they both want to be proactive about it. But once they realize that they just have to settle in and wait for extraction, it'd be a very, very one-sided conversation.
Here's one from Syed C. How would the game / IDW Sonic Cast react to the Sonic X anime? Dark Sonic, Egg Moon, Metarex, etc.
Blanketly, I'd say just about the same, since Sonic X is skewed so close to modern Sonic at the time. Amy, clearly a big distinction. There's nuance to be had there, to be sure, but by and large, they're fairly comparable.
How would they react to like watching the anime though? Like not if they were swapped out for their current incarnations when swapped out for the incarnations from then. I mean if they were like watching it.
Knuckles would be asking where he is.
Yeah.
And then when he's on the screen, he's saying, well, why isn't he on the island? He's being bad at his job. Why are you watching this here? Oh, hell. Goes back to the island. I think Amy would be a little self-conscious. Like, was I really like that back then? Tails would get super animation nerd by season 2 when the budget dropped.
Oh. Oh.
Cream would just be excited to be on the screen. Look, geez, it's us.
Yay. And we're being cool.
Eggman scribbling down notes. That's not a bad idea. Just don't do it that way. Yeah, okay.
This is another Boom episode, I feel like. As always, here we go.
Note to self, put legs on Orbot and Cubot. Scratches that out.
Something like that. And our next question is from Stacy H. What do you imagine Kid's voice to sound like? Would it be a male voice actor or a female like Colleen for younger characters like Tails and Charmy?
Both could work. Depends on the voice actor and their range and their ability. Kid himself is, would be a bit of a challenge because you would have to be both very reserved and soft spoken, but also audible, which is tricky to do. And Kit's delivery would be about the nuance in the delivery. There has to be a lot of stuff unsaid in the way that he says things.
Yeah.
Like when he says okay, there's really like 3 paragraphs of internal trauma being expressed in that one word.
I'm feeling like Presea from Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah. A little more emotive, but yeah.
Yeah. That was Tara Strong, which is surprising because she's normally a very excited, normally voices very excited animated characters. So, yeah. She just has good range, I suppose. So, I don't know. There's probably many people who could do it. All right, let's jump over to some super chats because we've got a few of those already. Here's a super chat from Super Sonic Fan. Thank you. Rough and Tumble win the lottery and become millionaires. What do they do? What do they do with all their money? Nothing, because they don't know what money is.
Yeah. First thing they do is they do the whole big pile of money to just dive and throw it around like confetti, because that's what you do.
They would reenact the introduction to DuckTales, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do, obviously. They've seen enough media. Make the bed out of money, have snowball fights with the money. Sculpt things paper mache-esque with the money.
Of course.
And then eventually they realize, wait, they have money. They can spend this.
Hmm.
Oh, crap. Tear down all the structures. But I really like this one. No, no, no. It's time to spend it. And then they start to blow all the cash. And then they actually go, wait a minute. There's two of us. How much is either one spent? How do we split this evenly? And then it becomes a fight over what's left. And then by the end of it, Rouge has stolen it all.
Yes. I like it. Nickel Plated has a super chat question. Thank you. What kind of story would you write for a one-shot Kirby comic with a steampunk aesthetic? Let's assume the page count is similar to the Seasons of Chaos story.
I'm tempted to just do like a one and done story set in Planet Roboto. You know the one.
Domo Arigato.
Kirby gets mechas, the game. Because that's got kind of a steampunky vibe to it. The Kirby mechas themselves have that kind of general feel.
Kinda.
But I don't think that's what you're asking. You're asking for something like truly steampunky. And the thing with Kirby is part of the joy with that franchise is you plop him into the scenario wholesale. Like you don't try to adapt Kirby, you just put him there. And him being this versatile little fluff ball that can consume everything just either magically fits in, don't ask how, or he's so out of place, that's the joke. That's what's funny about it. And I guess it's kind of required by Kirby law that he fights some kind of like steampunk mecha day at the end.
Always. That sounds amazing.
I mean, it's not the most original idea in the world, but that's part of the charm of Kirby is you kind of see some of these twists coming from a mile away. Hey, it's Wispy Wood, but he's a palm tree this time. You know, it's comfortable that way.
Yeah.
Maybe Kirby gets his special gimmick of he doesn't just inhale, but he also spits steam. So he can like air jet around and, you know, flash fry some poor Waddle Dees.
I like it.
Yo, no, that's it. He gets one, like, you know how he gets the crowns for some of the powers?
Oh, yeah.
It's just this big mess of pipes that shoot in steam at regular intervals.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yes. Very good. All
And
right.
that's what he does. He keeps inhaling to build up pressure. So he has more steam power. I like it. I like it.
You've
I want to
done
see
it.
this now.
You've done it, Ian. Time to write it. And pass it to Nintendo and have them say no. Oh, well. Here's a question from the Feral Marshmallow, a super chat. Thank you. What? Oh, because it's called
Sorry, you say
name.
feral marshmallow, and the first thing I think of is a fanged marshy. Look out, fellas! I'm rabid. I haven't had my shots.
Go away! Get away from here, Marshy! Go! Leave!
Sorry, question time.
How does it feel to have freaking Roger Craig Smith voice lines that you wrote? You've been writing the comics for so long that it must be surreal.
It is like, never mind getting in the door. That enough is a thrill. But knowing that I'd be writing for this cast in particular had me hyped.
Yeah.
Like, just I don't know what else to say. The man is a phenomenal talent. I mean, they all are excellent voice actors.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to hearing the final product because I've finished my contribution months ago. I have been out of the loop for a while. I don't know what's being done with the script. So once the game comes out, I'm going to be in largely the same boat as everybody else.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's gonna be cool. I mean, we've heard him say some of your lines before in Sonic Boom, the Sonic Boom episodes you wrote, but this is gonna be a totally different thing. I think because it's gonna just be a different tone and everything. It's a bit more official, you know. I mean, Boom was
Yeah,
official, but it's an alternate universe.
it
So
was
this
Boom.
is,
It was not.
yeah,
This is
this is different.
main Sonic. This is real Sonic. This is.
This is the good stuff. I guess it depends on who you ask. uh, Here's a super chat from Scurvy Pirate Dog. Hey, good buddy. Ian, you once talked about other characters besides Sonic and Eggman getting memory loss. But what if Whisper got memory loss and forgot her trauma?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I guess the question would be what mentality she defaulted to. If it's just like she lost the exact memories, but was still kind of innately aware of the previous trauma, that might not change much.
Yeah.
She'd be at a bit on edge because she knows that there was danger and now she doesn't know why. She knew she was on edge, but why? And that would just make her double down. If we're talking like full hard factory reset, then she'd go back to her, bubbly, open, happy self, and that'd be weird at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got a super chat from a megawatt. Thank you. Hey guys, to Ian, in light of the recent trailer, what does hearing your writing coming out of Roger slash Sonic the Dang Hedgehog's mouth feel like? We just went through this, but hey, you know what? Oh well.
Yeah, again, it's surreal,
Yeah.
and it's like uh just sitting there going, That's the thing. I remember writing that now. That's the line that I did that he's saying in the thing in the game
They're keeping
that
my
people will
line. They
play."
didn't change it.
And to be totally honest, I was trending on Twitter the other day, and I see all these people just really excited by that scene that was going around, and I'm very happy that so many people are pleased, but please, 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 please don't put me on such a high precipice. Do not exalt me like that. You have raised me on such a pedestal that I'm dying of oxygen deprivation. I have cleared the stratosphere. I'm not that good. I'm very happy that you're pleased with what's being presented thus far, but I'm human. I'm fallible. Please don't worship me. It makes me feel very weird. I don't like it. I like people being happy. I don't like the blind praise. That uncomfortable.
Here's a question from Beset Free Ministry. How many mathematical dimensions, 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, etc., exist within the Archie Sonic multiverse?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know what parallel dimensions count in terms of extra dimensional space. I can wrap my head around fourth dimensional conceptually, but once we get into 5+ and string theory and that kind of stuff, I just kind of glaze over. Like I get the general concept here and there if you talk real slow, but ah, this brain ain't wired for higher multidimensional stuff. I'm good for just fantasy level. It's another universe, just like this one, but different. Over there.
It's that one. It's that one. All right, I want to switch over to standard questions now. And I'm going to pull one here, actually, that's not in the list directly, but it is sent over to me. It's from Supersonic Fan. How do we suggest characters to do a Q&A with?
Um, you can we treat it as a guest episode because it takes a considerable more amount of time compared to just a usual BumbleKast session. So basically, you buy a guest spot on the show and you just say, "This isn't for me. This is for character whoever." Do bear in mind that I have I fancy myself kind of a hobbyist voice actor. I don't know what kind of range I have, and if you suggest a character that I can't even remotely approach, I will refund with "I'm sorry" because I'm not going to do a bad job and take your money. That's just not fair to anybody, and that's not fun to listen to. Like, if you buy a guest episode for, like, Amy Rose, I can't do that.
I'm
And I
sorry,
don't think...
we can't afford to hire one either.
Yeah. That's well beyond our capabilities. But if, like, you've listened to the show and you think my reasonable facsimiles of character voices are something that you want to listen to for a half hour, number one, why? But thank you. And number two, try it out. At the very worst, we'll give you your money back and an apology.
Yes. All
Like,
right.
no foul there.
No. All right, here's a standard question from Pedanticat. So in the Sonic universe, does a Mobian go to a regular hospital or a veterinary hospital? And do the veterinarians and doctors have to study Mobian biology in medical school?
I imagine vets are for animals and there are hospitals for sapient creatures.
Mobinis get vets.
Sure.
I don't know.
And really, when you get down to it, what is a doctor but a vet for a human? It's a very species specific form of vet.
Yes.
This also begs the question of just how different the physiologies are between talking animal people and humans, and I don't know if we'll ever get into that.
I mean, just look at their noodly arms and legs. They kind of have to be at least a little different in some ways. Here's a question from Michael B. The Deadly Six just showed up on Seaside Island. How would the Boom Crew / Eggman deal with the threat? And how will Styx ultimately be the one to defeat them? It's like, I knew it! Aliens!
She's almost bored with it. It's like, well, yeah, here they are. Right on time. Just the way I imagined them, too.
They're finally here. Performing for you. Oh, wait. No, that's different. That's different.
The entire premise would be just taking the piss out of the D6. Like, they would be played straight for sure.
Oh, yeah.
They've come to Hedgehog Island to, destroy wantonly. But the rest of the crew aren't going to take them as seriously. They're not going to have the serious confrontations like the D6 want. And as the D6 look around nature, they're going to be like, what's there to destroy? What have they done to themselves that we can't do? They arrive at Madberg. It's like they ingest this of their own free will. How can we hurt them any further? Eggman would not really confront them. He'd be hiding.
Yeah.
Zavok's banging on the door. Let me in. Let us have our duel between masterminds. And Eggman's under the bed going, no, go away.
It's true.
Orbot, run out there and offer him some evil ham. He looks like he enjoys evil ham.
Ham. I like ham, whether it's evil or not. It's all good to me. My Small Corner has a question. If they had a truce, what do you think Tails and Kit would do if they just hung out for a day? Not as enemies, but just as two kids. Build Lego, play video games?
I think Tails would have to initiate and guide the interactions for the most part, and it would take time. Kit doesn't really open up to others readily or happily. I think he would come around, but I also think like he would really start to open up when Tails stops going with the usual kid fare and starts getting into the more intellectually challenging stuff. Like, okay, you weren't really interested in the video games, you weren't really interested in playing outdoor activities, but the minute I brought up this coding issue or this wiring board problem, his eyes lights up and it's like, okay, that's where you're mentally engaged. Well, we can play tech heads for a while. We can build an actual car.
Build a real car. I like it. And we got a question from Michael M. Have you played Live Alive, original or remake?
I have not, no.
I have played a little bit of it, but I'm very familiar with the soundtrack, and the soundtrack freaking rules. The original I'm referring to, not the remake. I have not played the remake yet, but yeah, it looks gorgeous. It's another one of those it's a remake in the style of Octopath Traveler, so it's got that 16-bit esque look to it, but it's kind of 3D ish too, which is a good aesthetic. I like it. So
I do too. I like that kind of miniature esque.
Yeah.
I just hate that the logo looks like it. I know it's Live Alive, but it looks like it says Live Evil.
Live Evil. Yeah, well, you know.
That's all I see. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. And then like it's just a weird game to like. The title is weird. Like you don't know how to pronounce it if you're someone who's not familiar with it. You look at it and you're like, live, what?
Live alive, live alive, live I live.
Live alive. I don't know, man. It's confusing and weird, but yeah. Megalomania, that boss theme. Whew, that's such a good theme. Not Megalovania, Megalomania. There's a difference. I think someone has combined the two of them, though. I'm sure, somewhere. All right, let's switch over to some more super chats for a little bit. Starting with this one from Jams. Thank you. What kind of lines would you like to hear more from with the Sonic games' current voice actors? Any favorites you'd like to hear more from aside from Eggman?
As in previews from Frontiers or just writing for them in general?
I think it seems like just writing for them in general. Like, what do you want them to say?
I want to give them the full range of their ability. You know, they do fine. They have done fine in the past with their kind of Saturday morning upbeat general cartoon voices.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I wanted to do with Frontiers, and what I would love to hear more of them do, is to show off the full range of their capability, the highs, the lows, the emotional spectrum. You know, they are very talented voice actors, and I want to give them more opportunity to act. And in turn, would give more gravitas to the characters and their interactions.
Gotta put some meat on them bones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here's a question from Speedweed. I got more Metroid crossover stuff for you. Despair. So instead of focusing on the Gamecast, what if Metroid ever did get to crossover with either Archie or IDW Sonic? Horror stuff and Chow included.
I feel like we brought up the idea of a Metroid-esque Chow before.
Yeah, you have.
A little trio emo dot, and it smiles and the fangs pop out, and it's cute, but keep it away. Yeah. we have done this. I don't know. Maybe Archie Sonic let her just blow up all the Jorda. I think that would make everybody happy. And you don't even need to involve Sonic or the others. Just have her shoot up brain squids for like 40 consecutive pages and let people go, yep, that's good stuff. Shoot them up, Samus.
Yes. Very good.
IDW Sonic, present day Sonic stuff. It might be kind of fun to see her interact with alien elements that are not nightmare fuel horror things like wisps. Like she goes to Planet Wisp and it's nice.
And she's confused and does not understand and is very scared.
Like the flora and the fauna are not trying to kill her or eat her or both in no particular order. In fact, they can charge up her armor, and now she's got even more crazy arsenal.
I was just gonna say a wisp armor. That would be badass. All colors, indeed.
Like she shows up and gets used to the idea that this is a lovely, pastoral, wholesome planet. What do you mean the space pirates have arrived and they're going to try to harvest these poor, adorable boo-boos? Oh no, son!
Oh, she's there. She's ready. She's there.
Really, the wisps would make very easy armaments, like pink spike plus the morph ball. Who needs spider ball at that point? Orange rocket with the missiles.
I like it.
Ivory whip to go with the grapple beam. Like, yeah, okay. Modders, people with talent and time. Make me a Metroid game, but all of the stuff is wisps.
That sounds awesome. I want that. I want that. Get on that, modders. Do it. If you want, you don't have to. Here's a question from JJ Slider. A super chat from JJ Slider. Crisis City is an alternate timeline dimension. Was this always the case, or only after Solaris' death? If Crisis City is an alt dimension, why are Silver's other futures different plus connected to past changes, like in Forces?
Eh?
Do I need to repeat it, or are you just having...
I mean, okay. So Crisis City, as far as we can tell, is Soliana in the ruined future. Whether it's the old city, new city, whatever, the parallels seem to be there. So the fate of the future is the weird thing. It's not a parallel future. It's not an alternate dimension. It's the future. And while this is not how time travel should work, as near as I can figure, the future is kind of semi-set. So Silver's time is 200 years, and Crisis City happened, and then Blaze fixed it, and now Silver goes back from it. Except anytime you change something in the past, that should change the future, and there should be at least some kind of divergent time thing. But you know what? I don't know. I'll wait for a second to say, okay, this is officially the rules. But that seems to be my understanding of it. Right.
All right. Well, hey guys, we are about 110 questions for standard questions in, so I'm gonna give you guys about 3 minutes to go ahead and submit any last minute standard questions, and then we'll cut them off after that. So, thank you for sending them in. Much appreciated. Unfortunately, we just only have a limited amount of time, so we can only get to so many. So
the ones that we do not get to will be added to the standard queue, which will be added to the standard Q&A episodes.
yes, we'll try and get through those in due time as well. So thank you for your patience, and hang tight. We got a lot of questions, so we're going to keep on going. Here's a question from Lord Van Oscaro. Is Whisper proficient in other firearms than just her Wispin?
Serviceably so. I don't think she's an expert with them, but I think she is capable.
Mm-hmm.
She knows which end to point at the bad guy.
Well, I mean, that's better than you could say for some other characters, probably. Here's a super chat from Nogside. Thank you. If Johnny were to ever show up in the comics, which design would you prefer? The one from the promotional art of Rush Adventure or his in-game design?
I like the stumpy little in-game design. I feel like that feels more Sonic-y. Frankly, I adore the Captain Whisker Johnny fight and think that would have been great if they put Eggman in like a small mecha suit and had you fight him and Metal Sonic at the same time. Like, just do that exact same fight but with different assets. I want that so bad, and I think that ship has sailed, and that makes me sad.
Well, it's a good thing that ship is sailing in the Blazes universe where all the water is.
Yeah, except they killed off Captain Whisker in the Japanese Twitter stuff, so
Oh, that's official.
whoopsie.
Like that's more than just been.
It's official material.
Just
man.
been said. It more than's just been said in the what's it called in the annual. Okay.
The annual's taking the cue off of that.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that actually. Interesting. Oh. Well, we have a super chat here. Let's move on. To this one from Starlight Sec. Thank you. Thank you. I believe this person is also known as Sequoia. I've noticed that Mimic has never appeared in the mainline comic, just miniseries so far. Any possibility of this edgelord to pop up in the main series anytime soon?
Maybe.
Dun-dun-dun. Hashtag knowing smile.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag knowing smile alert. Beep boop, beep boop. We need like an alarm that goes off. Knowing smile alert.
Just do the Smash Brothers alert thing.
Boop, boop, boop.
The new challenger approaching.
All right, let's switch over to some let's switch over to some standard questions for a bit. Getting into this one from Vlad C. In Rush Adventure, it's pretty much explicitly shown that the Babylonians had a presence in Seoul, and it syncs up with writer's material. Will anything ever come from this? Will you try to use this?
See, I've heard that argument made, but I haven't seen any evidence that convinces me. Like, yeah, Sky Babylon is a thing, but I haven't seen any iconography that matches between the two. Maybe I've missed that. So, if you are very right and I'm very wrong, please, by all means, link me to, comparison videos or images or whatnot and say, look, you hack, this is what it really is. And, maybe it's worth considering, but it doesn't make a lot of sense unless maybe the Babylonians escaped Blaze's dimension and they're also not just from space, but other dimensional space, which I would hate, but I don't know. It's something that I would want to sit down and like thoroughly review and research to make sure that it's an actual connection and not just they were reusing some ideas without thinking of the greater implications.
Yeah, you hack. Anyway, here's one from Fun Floof the Cartoon. Someone once told me in a Discord server that I shouldn't use BumbleKast answers or anything established in IDW to explain stuff in the games or the timeline spit. Is it okay that I do anyways? I was not expecting that as the last question. That's the actual question. Like, I was reading this and I'm like, okay, I think I can see where this is going. And then I got hit with that one. It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, you can headcanon however you want and read it however you want.
Yes.
The game material, in my mind, comes first and foremost in terms of validity and canonicity. The comics are informed by that and try to mesh with that. But if the games come out with something tomorrow and say, oh, Tails has actually been blue all this whole time, he's been dyeing his fur, guess what? The comics are going to have to change and follow suit. As for BumbleKast questions, I try to be as accurate and transparent with my answers as I can be, but not everything can be explained in great detail. Sometimes I flub the explanation, and sometimes I'm wrong.
What?
And sometimes it changes. So, I take everything on the BumbleKast with a grain of salt. I don't aim to mislead because that would come back to bite me in the ass real fast. But I also can't guarantee that all the answers I give will be correct forever and ever and ever. I'm sure there's stuff in like season 1 or 2 where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the way it is right now, and now it's not that anymore. So
I think there's a.
I'm doing my best. But
I think there's a question in the very first episode of this show that is no longer accurate. An answer.
Probably.
At least one. At least one. So yeah, actually now I'm kind of curious. Let's take a detour real quick and pop open the good old Q&A master list. If you head on over to BumbleKast.com, you can find the link to that and see all the questions that have ever been asked on the BumbleKast. I'm gonna see here because let's see. Oh, no. Okay, not in the very first episode. There's the one is the first episode has what would you do if you could write for a Sonic game, but that was well before you were even involved in a game. So yeah, I'm not seeing one right off the top, but I'm sure there's one very quick, very early on. So yeah. All right, here's a question from the Saxon. Hey Ian, without spoilers, are Surgeon Kit different with Evan's story as opposed to where you originally intended to take them when you were head writer? How so? If yes, again, no spoilers.
I no. I mean, Evan and I talk about stuff, and we're very respectful of each other's creations. And if we ever have had a question about how to approach something, we've always been open to each other to bounce ideas off each other. Like when I was doing number 50, and no, before that, 44 was it? When Starline kidnaps Belle. It was the first time I had tackled Belle as a character, so I made sure to run the script by Evan, going, "Am I doing this right? Is this in character?" So, uh, she treats Surgeon Kit just fine.
Good. Glad to hear it. Here's a question from Golden Dawn. So Spinball is canon, despite the presence of the Deke characters, 16 Emeralds, and Tails' new tornado? Even if that Tails started building new tornadoes from SA1 onwards, how this work?
It's canon, and don't think too hard about
it. It's canon, but some things have been retconned. Some details have been retconned.
Yeah, like don't hold it to the utmost scrutiny. I do feel like it is the strongest bit of ammo for pitching the Freedom Fighters returning in some shape or form. But if that doesn't work, I think that might be it. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
All right, let's switch over to some super chats for a bit. Starting off this one from Buttered Noodles. If Knuckles were to die, who would step up to guard the Master Emerald, if anyone at all?
Presently, I don't know. Maybe his friends would all come together and do a rotating shift.
I mean, they should probably already do that now.
Yeah. Nobody's falling for it when Rouge volunteers. Yeah, we know. No, you're not heartbroken over the loss. You're not fooling anybody.
I don't know. She might actually do it. I think she might be the one who steps up to do it. She would be the guardian. Just to prevent anyone else from getting it because it's hers. She wants it. She thinks it's hers now.
Turn the island into her safety deposit box.
Yes.
All she steals gets loaded up on the island.
Uh-huh.
All the treasures and riches already hidden there are now hers to claim. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that angle.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit, it's a little selfish, but you know what? She is a little selfish. That's just kind of how she is sometimes, you know? It's fine. Good for her.
I was reviewing a Sonic Battle for another project, and dang, she's crafty in that game. She plays everyone like a fiddle, and it's delightful.
I like it. Excel Hedge has a question. Super chat. Thank you. Were there any plans for Amy in Mobius X years later? Who she married? Any kids of her own? Is she ruling Mercia?
I did have plans.
Anyway,
Mercia.
Sorry. Mercia.
Or at least that's how I said it.
All right.
There were plans. It's going to be in Lost Hedgehog Tales. I promise it'll come out one day before the heat death of the universe.
I'm not so sure about that. That Ian Flynn's up to something.
Well, I'm up to a lot of stuff. That's what the hashtag knowing smile is for.
I get it now. Excel Hedge. Or nope, sorry, that's the one we just answered. Another super chat from Lord Van Oscaro. Thank you. Would you be able to add some Friendship is Magic characters as background characters like Sandbar and Yona? Or are you not allowed to use Equine or Bovine designs?
In the Sonic book?
I'm assuming so. Like,
Like just like they're running through
I
a
guess,
field
I
and
guess
you see a
something
horse and
that's,
it's Sandbar.
I guess think of something like maybe like a sort of a reference to another IDW property.
I mean, there are real world animals on Sonic's Earth. That's been established in some of the games. So I mean, you could probably sneak an Easter egg like that in there. Um, that's not something I don't typically put Easter eggs in the script myself because I feel like calling it out is begging for it to get flagged and removed.
Mm-hmm.
But if an artist decided to toss that in there in a particular panel, I ain't gonna tattle. I ain't gonna complain.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
And I will be the first to argue that it's a perfectly fine little cameo. It doesn't harm nothing. Just let people have fun.
Yes. All right, we get a super chat from Alex R. Thank you. First, props to you writers and for the annual. Second, some characters in it dealt with situations like PTSD and struggle with life purpose. Are these turmoils something that will be expanded upon more in the main series?
Probably at some point or another. That's the thing with this book is there is no end goal. There is no finale that we're working towards. It's one story after the other. Explore the characters when and where we can. This is not the destination. This is the journey.
I like it. Joe M has a question. In the Sonic 1 Japanese manual, Eggman says that Sonic has always been ruining his great plans. Is it still canon that Sonic knew Eggman before Sonic 1, or is it their first meeting now?
It's their first meeting now.
Hmm.
Sonic Origins story mode is the canon now.
And that's according to SEGA of Japan, right?
Yeah.
That's going all the way to the top, the very tip top. That's not just
There were a
you.
lot of
That's not just
Oh,
you
no.
making this up or inferring this, or you. This is your interpretation of things.
Yeah, there were a lot of long conversations about how to approach stuff, what to keep east and west, how we were going to tell it within the limited confines of the animations, and it was a very thoughtful process.
Hmm.
So what you see in game is after lots and lots of discussion and revision.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got another super chat from Supersonic fan. What would Rough and Tumble do in the Sonic Boom world? How would they interact with Team Sonic and their villains? Would they work for Boom Eggman?
Honestly, you could probably just transplant them straight into
They
Boom.
probably, yes. Just as incompetent mooks, yes.
I mean, they'd be mooks for hire, so Eggman would hire them. The Thunderbolts would hire them. They'd do stuff on their own. They'd be, just a fun one-off episode villain every now and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, change things up a bit. I like it. Here's a super chat question from Sonic Mania 2099. Thank you. I enjoyed the annual 2022 stories, though I got a question. At what point did the Jet and Whisper story take place?
I'm not sure. Whisper did kind of go off on her own back in Test Run, I think it was. So it might fit somewhere in there.
Did you didn't write that one, did you?
No.
Okay.
That was a different Ian.
Oh, that was the other Ian. Oh, okay. When are you two gonna fight for the true Ian supremacy of Sonic?
I hope never, because he's probably in better shape than I am.
Oh. Well, that's a shame. Here's another super chat from Excel Hedge. Thank you. How would you do a crossover with the Sonic crew meeting the Mickey Mouse crew?
Kind of depends on which incarnation of the Mickey Mouse crew, because there's been a lot. They've been through numerous incarnations, and I would almost say it would work better if you did them as imagined in Sonic's world. Like treat them as Mobians, for lack of a better term. You know, Eggman has decided to conquer the Magic Kingdom. Sonic and buddies go to help the plucky resistance led by Mickey and Minnie, and Knuckles and Donald decide to beat up things, and Big and Goofy just go off fishing in the middle of a firefight. I don't know. Have some fun with it. Play up the cartoon antics a bit, but with just enough of a narrative undertone, enough of an adventure to keep things moving along and be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe mine some of Mickey's various video game abilities to coincide with Sonic. That would require some research. And I don't even want to think about the approval process from Disney.
All right, and we got one here from Jamal S, a member of our channel. So thank you, Jamal. Hey, Ian and Kyle, if you guys were in charge of Sonic Team with your own staff, what kind of Sonic games would you both make?
So what? I've
I guess the ability
over.
to just do anything you want.
I've possessed Izuka-san. I am now.
You are now the
king of Sonic.
You are the You are the Sonic Team king. Yes, something like that. You are now the big dog. You make the decisions
with no concerns over budget or different company heads.
No, except me, because it says if you guys was in charge of Sonic Team, so I guess it's just me and you.
Kyle assassinated, so there's nobody in my way.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
And something else to consider is that the Sonic Team is not the top of the ladder. They have bosses, and those bosses have bosses. So,
and ultimately, they all respond to the shareholders.
So it can get real complicated real fast. There's a lot of cooks in that kitchen.
Probably too many.
All right, let's just say I am producer of the Sonic brand with no holds barred. Sure, let's indulge in that fantasy. I'd like to see more love given to the extended cast in smaller titles. Not everything has to be the big multi-platform release. Like, give us that Chow mobile game, for the love of God.
Give us that Knuckles Metroidvania. There we go. I was about ready to say something like, I don't know. I was gonna say Castle, and then I didn't know where I was gonna go after that. I was gonna say Castle. What Castle? What was I gonna say? Castle Troid? I don't know. No.
I am convinced you could do a runner gunner on rails game a la Sin and Punishment with Shadow.
Oh man, that would be cool.
Like, give him Wispons, give him alternate, mini game shooting galleries for extra points or stuff. I don't know.
Plug in
the Divergent.
I was going to say, just plug in some references to a Space Harrier.
Yeah. Keep the divergent paths, but don't go like full on completely different storylines, just different aspects of it. So, oh no, that escape shuttle full of orphans and puppies is under attack, or Eggman's getting away. Which path do you choose? And in the end, you're ultimately going to be defeating Eggman, but you can choose whether to shoot him down now or save the orphans and puppies. Give me a simple like shump shooter Tails on the Tornado.
Yeah,
straight to mobile.
That's just
that's your various tornadoes and weapons.
It's just Afterburner, but with Tails and the Tornado instead of an F-14.
And make it a digital only.
Yeah.
Don't print out copies. Make it a $20-$30 game.
Just some small stuff. Simple. Yeah.
No CG cutscenes. No, fully realized, brilliant, gorgeous orchestral track. Just reuse assets if you have to. Just play with the characters more. Um, I've been puzzling on what to do with an Amy game, and I keep coming back to the Batten Kaitos card battle system,
Mm.
but that's as far as I get.
I'm thinking like a modern spectacle beat 'em up like Bayonetta or something. Just go all out ridiculous with hers. Because, you know,
Arc
big
Systems
hammer
fighting game.
Oh, yes. Sonic the Fighters 2 by Arc System Works. Yes.
A Muso that doesn't, and not everything has to have a story. Not everything has to fit into the main continuity. Just, you know, make a kick-ass Arxis fighting game in their gorgeous style.
Yes.
And just let them wail on each other. It doesn't have to be in theme or in continuity. Just give me the pretties.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonic R2, for the love of God. None of these airboards, none of this kart racing stuff. Put them back on foot. I want to be Supersonic Racing on foot. What's that? You want a main title game as well? I can't be bothered with that. I want to make all the toys.
All the
What's
spin-offs.
that? I'm being fired and thrown out onto the street? How dare you?
Please let me have the toys and bang them together. It's an action figure fight.
There's an RTS of Eggman conquering the world in there too somewhere, but I can't quite figure that one out.
Oh, that would be interesting. That could be fun. Oh man. I'm with you. I do want a Sonic R game. That would be fun. Sonic R2, a proper sequel, proper follow-up. Geez, there's so many ideas. There's so many thoughts, you know, like a third-person shooter game with Omega. That could be fun.
Like go full on Metal Gear Revengeance levels of spectacle.
I guess he would make more sense than Amy as far as tone goes. We're going for like a platinum style. I don't know. I think Ian's got some pretty good ideas. I'll defer to him, and then he'll have me murdered, so we're good.
Oh, and Big, basically in his SA1 fishing style, just give him a big open world to explore. You know, dive deep and to find new caves, climb stuff to find mountaintop lakes. Just a super chill, explore, fish whenever you want, explore when you don't want to fish. Like zero goal, just super laid back zen game.
Just fix the controls and make it more clear what you're supposed to do and how the controls actually work, so you're not spending several hours just trying to figure out how to catch anything without losing it. So, yes. I'm down with that though. I like that idea. Put some more depth to the fishing game so it's not just like over in 2 minutes if you know what you're doing. And here's a question from Sherry Doodles. Okay, regarding the Boom universe, what's the lore on Boom Shadow, if there is any?
I don't know. If there was anything nailed down, I was not privy to it.
All right. Sorry, I was laughing at something else. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at someone else. Anthony Smith. Sorry, Anthony S. It's too late now. I have a question. Why did Penders make up a different origin story for the emeralds being irradiated gems instead of what was established earlier coming from space?
I don't think it had been established before that.
What was it? When did that get established? I know it wasn't established in the Genesis games, was it?
Well, no, I mean in the comics.
No, I know. But I'm thinking they mean like, why did Penders make up a different origin story for the emeralds being irradiated gems instead of what was established earlier coming from space. I think do they mean earlier in the franchise's history overall or earlier just in the comic?
See, now it's been so long since I've had to deal with that continuity. I don't know what the order was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Not sure. All right, and we got another one here from Scurvy the Pirate Hog. We've seen Starline raising Surgeon Kit. I would put raising in quotes on that one, but that's just me. So what if Vanilla decided to take care of the two for 1 week? How would it go by the end of the week?
Like, during the process?
I don't know. Or now. I don't know.
Like, now?
I feel like we'd end with Surge just gnawing on Vanilla's leg, and she's just looking like completely just overwhelmed.
Like, if you want to keep them as straight up villains, Vanilla would reach something deep within them, reawaken this feeling of belonging and worth, and Surge would hate that and like burn their house down just to prove that she doesn't have that in her anymore, and like scold Kit until he acknowledges that no, she's right, there isn't any good in them, they can't be with anyone else, it's just the two of them against the world. That's if you want the bad end. Good end is Vanilla manages to reach them and Surge decides to not burn down the house, and maybe she needs to rethink things, but she's still not comfortable in a positive environment. So she and Kit still bounce, but with the hope that maybe they'll turn things around.
Alrighty. And we've got we got a lot of super chats. So we currently have 43 in the queue, and we are at about 24 right now. So we are probably going to be cutting off super chats here pretty soon. You can still send them in because we can't turn that off. But if you do, they will most likely be moved to the to a priority Q&A episode upcoming priority episode. So sorry for making you guys wait like that, but unfortunately we only have so much time. And yeah. So go ahead and I'd say give it maybe 10 more minutes and then we'll cut off super chats until priority episode if any show up after then. So, and we got one from Meta Mode. When the chips are down, could the boom versions of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy take on the same threats as the modern versions?
I think so, yeah. They just haven't really been put to the test.
Yeah.
And sure, they're goofy, but they have some considerable skill.
Yeah. I think they could pull it off. Might be a little shaky at first. They might need some work. So, all right, let's go ahead and switch back over to some standard questions for a bit. This one is from Jeffrey St. John. Ian, while you've worked on writing the Sonic comics, Archie, and IDW, have you ever had any funny or interesting moments when meeting up with fellow colleagues? Can be at Comic-Con or anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that I've met has always been very charming and easy to get along with. There was I'll drop his name out just in case this would embarrass him in hindsight, but we're sitting there, we're talking about, finding reference art for characters because not everyone had a dedicated turnaround sheet. And he was saying he was looking up this particular character, so he did Google image search, and we all laugh because keep safe search on when searching for Sonic art. And he said no, he didn't, and he found all sorts of references, and we're all cracking up because some of it's actually pretty good. It's like, don't admit that, man. No.
Well, whatever. Here's one from Sour F. In Sonic 06, Solaris was so strong than Super Trio to the point that they cannot hurt him at all, to the point they need to attack his weak point. Does that mean super forms are not Solaris level?
I mean, I guess technically, but they are still able to break through the armor to reach a vulnerable spot. So I don't know how you quite want to measure out the power levels there.
And we got one from Happy Times. Given the similarities in their looks and color schemes, do you think there was some connection to Raw Thor and Base, like Wily basing Base's design off of Thor?
Hadn't considered that. That would make enough sense, though, if that were to ever come around.
All right, here's one from Quinhala. Ian, would you consider pitching a Mario comic series to Nintendo a second time now?
If there was a publisher who thought they could get that off the ground and they wanted me involved, sure, I'd give it a shot.
All right, and we got one from Michael H. So if Starline succeeded in his plan against the Sonic Cycle in issue 50 without Betrayal, what would it look like and how long would it last?
So he managed to convince Eggman from the get-go to invest in Surgeon Kit and lure Sonic and Tails in for their destruction. It would play out largely the same. Sonic and Tails would still come out on top by virtue of their own, goodwill and abilities. And Starlight would just have to eat crow at that point. Eggman's like, all right, here's your plan. I'm going to watch. Let's do it. Let's see how it plays out. And Starline's so very eager because everything's falling into place. Everything's going according to plan, except it's not. Everything he meticulously plotted and planned and put into place has fallen apart. And he's like, but Eggman's like, I told you. Now we're going to do things my way again because you're an idiot.
All right, we got a question here from Cherry Sapphire Cherry. Regardless of if it was an accident that Team Hooligan was mentioned in issue 3 or not, it still happened, meaning that A, but not the Team Hooligan has to exist in IDW. So, who are they?
At this point, my answer is going to be that the Hooligans are classic characters. Classic is the past. Therefore, Sonic was making a deep cut reference to his enemies of the past when speaking about Rough and Tumble.
All right, here's
Is that going to hold water? Is that going to still apply in the future? I don't know. We'll find out together.
All righty. And we got a question here from Hyder S. You have said that cut/unreleased characters would never be allowed, but if a character shows up as concept art in a release game, like the Sonic Band in Origins, would it be on the table?
Maybe, probably not. Sega doesn't seem to be super keen on mining older/unused material, and I don't know if that's a possible legality thing or if it's just a preference on concentrating on current and new material. But I don't know. I mean, it might be worth exploring in terms of material to inspire new stuff, but it would be on a case-by-case basis.
And next question is from a cartoon fan. Is Sonic having been born in Christmas Island still canon? If so, would Ian be interested in exploring the location in an IDW story?
I don't think so, no.
And next is from Scruffy Matt. Back to the Future the game. Have you played it? If so, what do you think of it as a sequel to the movie trilogy? If not, why not?
I have not, because I didn't know it was a thing.
Really? Oh. No, it's a Telltale game.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like NES or something.
No. I mean, there is an NES. There are 2 NES Back to the Future games, but don't play them. They're not great. No, the only Back to the Future games worth playing are that one and the Super Back to the Future 2, the Japanese exclusive Super Nintendo game. So, yeah. I have played the first episode of the Telltale game. I need to play through more of it. Why have I not played them? Laziness. It's the same reason why I haven't read the Back to the Future comic series, which actually adapted the Citizen Brown storyline from the game too. So kind of interesting how they went back to the well twice on that one. But yeah, I do need to check it out. Just haven't had the time yet, or the chance, or the motivation, or anything. Coffee has a question. What are the chances of game characters like Knuckles and Silver getting their own mini-comic, given it's harder to include them in main stories? This seems like a solid workaround.
Yeah, you'd think. Kind of up to IDW if that's what they want to pursue. Or, if Sega said, we're going to be focusing on these characters in the future, we want more exposure, do a thing, then we'd be more inclined to do that thing.
Yeah. I would like to see some miniseries dedicated to game characters. Maybe some days at some point. S. Shining has a question. What do you think about Sonic going out with Amy at the end of Sonic Chronicles and doing the right dialogues?
I mean, that's fine for the game itself. You built yourself up towards it. But Chronicles is super non-canon, so think of it what you want.
Super duper non-canon. The last baby man has a question. How did Gion the Tiger escape the Egg Clan and Eggman Empire without having her cybernetic tail paralyze her? Did she have some outside help when she left?
I think it's more that what was it? Conquering Storm didn't report it. Like she wouldn't find that mode of discipline to her tastes. She would rather Jen have a chance to come back around and return to the fold. Just clicking a button and immediately defeating your enemy just is not her style. She would rather defeat if John doesn't come back, she'd rather just defeat John straight up.
And our next question is from Alec J. Hey Ian, after seeing Eggman throw hands in issue 50, it had me wondering, what if Eggman were to pull a Senator Armstrong and infuse himself with nanomachines? Would he be unstoppable?
Nanomachines, son! Ick.
Now you've done it. Now you've done it.
I mean, that's really tempting. It'd be fun as hell to see Armstrong Eggman just wailing on Sonic, but where do you go from there? You can't have him be able to armor up all the time. That's not Eggman. And if he gets flushed of the nanites, why doesn't he just do it to himself again? See, this is why we need the continuity free Arxis fighting game.
Yes.
Because he can just do it there and you don't have to care about the repercussions.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Doesn't matter. I mean, there was that one time he roboticized himself. I mean, I already assumed he was part robot at that point. I was kind of surprised he roboticized himself. I'm like, isn't he already like a cyborg guy? But I guess not. It's weird. All right, we're going to shift over some super chats. Starting with this one from a watcher. Among Shadow fans, there are 2 types. One says he's fighting for Maria's wish after his game. The other says he is entirely done with his past, hates it, and wants nothing to do with it, which is true.
I think it's not so much he hates his past as that he's moved on from it.
Right.
He's not going to let it define him or rule his every action. He's done being haunted by those ghosts.
I see
He's
this
just
argument a
gonna move
lot.
on.
I do see this argument a lot, like that he's still fighting for Maria's wish, and some people say that, and then others say that he's moved on from that. So, and I think he has canonically said that he's moved on from it, but
yeah, I think it's.
but
Now
then
this
the
is
but
okay.
then
This
Lego,
is
I'm gonna say Lego Dimensions actually is something that people bring up as where it's like he doesn't seem like he is actually done with Maria's wish, but I don't think
that's the
Lego
Lego
Dimensions
thing.
is
That's
not canon.
no. Now this is my interpretation, or at least how I would want to approach it myself, but kind of along the lines of where Vash is at the end of Trigun, in that he still aspires to the promise he made to Maria, but it's not his defining trait.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his singular motivation. He's going to move on with his life. He's going to plot his own course, but her influence on him is still present.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't really move on from that sort of thing entirely. It's always going to be something I think that's would be on something that's part of Shadow.
Yeah.
So it's you know, but it doesn't have to be his only feature. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have
It's
to
not
be
his central motivation, but it would be an aspect of his rationale.
right. Right. All right. Next is from System 509. Surge versus Static from DC Comics. Who wins?
Seemed not super familiar with Static.
I'm not really either. He had a cartoon, I know that.
Yeah, and he's very popular. I know that much too. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of DC stuff. I was more of a Marvel guy, and even then, I'm not like super in depth on Marvel stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
they both have zappy powers.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Static's catchphrase, or at least something that I remember from the old cartoon, is if you don't start none, there won't be none. And Surge is very much the start some because that's what she do.
Yes.
But I'm trying to dig up what little I remember of the cartoon. And like it wasn't like straight up magnetic powers, it was electromagnetic. Basically he zapped things and had kind of TK
Yeah, it's
abilities.
static
Something like
cling
that.
is more what it
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
okay. Well, that right there gives him more of a projectile game than Surge.
He has taser punches and kicks. So, it's like I
Okay,
guess like getting
okay.
hit with a taser or stun gun. Yeah.
That's kind of along the lines of what Surge could do. So they would be fairly
And
matched. She's got the speed, but he might have more general maneuverability.
thrown ball lightning. He has that.
No, she can't do that.
Yeah. So,
All right, so
hmm.
maybe his projectile game would give him the edge.
Can Surge do EMP stuff? Like, could she knock out electronics or machines or anything?
We had some internal notes on kind of a desperation area of effect move, but
Hmm.
I don't think that's been used in the book yet, and it's may not have been approved finally. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to review my notes.
Yeah. Okay. And he can do force shields too, so like barriers.
Oh well, then yeah, he's got a much wider
Yeah,
repertoire.
Yeah, it seems like he has definitely a bigger move set. So, plus he's the hero. Whether even if he doesn't overcome her initially, eventually he will. It's required for the plot. It's comic books. That's how this goes. Here's a question from It's Hobo Joe. Not super into this crossover happening, but I'm curious. Phone Bone, Tails, Eggman, and Starline, plus anyone you'd like to having a book on Moby Dick. What happens? Is he the problem? I'm not sure I understand the exact question, but you might.
Okay, so in Bone, the main character, Phone Bone, is a big fan of Moby Dick.
Okay.
And the running gag is nobody else is. Like, he gets as far as my name is Ishmael and they're asleep. he extols its virtues and everyone else is so I think Tails would be kind of in the same boat. This is a kid who grew up with Sonic. He's not going to have the attention span for Moby Dick. He's got the intelligence, but that's not going to be his cup of tea. Eggman would be engrossed with it because it's a story about a man's obsession with conquering nature. He'd be rooting for Ahab start to finish.
Yeah.
Starline would be like on the fly, obnoxiously critiquing it page by page, sentence by sentence, until finally either Eggman or Phone just like socks him silent, and then they continue with the story time.
Okay, I like it. Here's a question from Anthony S. When the Genesis wave happened, roboticization works again, but it's said that only about half the population is susceptible to it. Can you explain why that is, and who's able to be roboticized and who isn't?
Geez, it's been a while. I think it was that anyone who was de-roboticized by the BEM were immune to robotization. So Uncle Chuck, Bernadette, all the previous Robians, the world that Eggman had conquered and then was later freed. But that means everyone that hadn't been conquered was prone. So Sonic, Tails, well, no, they were BEMmed. So
Ben.
Sally, Half a Bunny, Antoine, King Acorn, the Chaotix, humanity, all the good guys, everyone, all the freedom fighters who had fought and withstood the battle, they would have been prone. They would have been roboticized. So, the generation that grew up fighting him would have become his robot slaves. I think that's how it went.
I just remember. Thanks for reminding me that there was something called BEM in Sonic. BEM. I don't know why that makes me laugh. It's just a funny word to say. BEM. It's like Morb. It's like Morb. He's bemming all over. He's beginning to bem. All right, here's one from JJ Slider. Why did Sonic not remember Eraser Jin in Sonic Runners despite taking place after Secret Rings? And why could Sonic not beat a far weaker Eraser in that game when he beat an amped up full power base Eraser in Secret Rings?
Sonic Runners isn't canon?
Why not?
Because that's an easy answer.
I thought everything was canon.
Until it isn't.
Oh. Okay, fine. Here's one from Patrick. Aside from the obvious mustachioed villain who shall remain unnamed, is there any trouble between the island people, Sonic and friends, and the continent nations, humans?
I don't think so. I think it's a largely peaceful world.
All right. Here's one from James. I was super excited seeing Mount Mobius in Sonic Origins, mainly for the name. What are your thoughts on the name Mobians and Mobius in relation to the animal folk and the planet they live on? Any thoughts for or against?
I don't mind Mobian as a distinction for the species, but it does beg the question of where do you draw the line? I mean, it's Earth, but if it had been Mobius, does that make the Earthlings Mobians? Are the humans Mobians? Why are all the animals Mobians and not the people? It becomes muddy. So I'm not super broken up over the terms being retired.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Mobius itself exists as kind of a nice nod to what came before, but that's as far as it goes.
Well, it's like there's a mountain in the real world named Mount Baldy, but we aren't all Baldies. I mean, some of us are, but not all of us. So I don't know. It could just be called Mount Mobius without it being the name of the whole planet. You know, that's about it. That's all I can say. Chaos Sonic 1 has a question. In the first game of Sonic, it is stated that in the Japanese manual, South Island floats around and doesn't stay in the same place. Your explanation on that?
Nanomachines, son. I seem to remember it was supposed to be something to do with the Chaos Emerald's power.
It allows you to feel. I know that.
But beyond that, I don't think it has a solid explanation. It's just part of the weirdo mysticism of that fantasy world.
All right. And here's one from Scrappis. Hypothetical. All of the hedgehogs, Sonic, Silver, Shadow, Amy, all have a slumber party. How does it go?
I have a hard time seeing Sonic or Shadow showing up for a slumber party. Also kind of weird that Amy invites 3 dudes to her slumber party.
Is it though? Is it?
We're a family show, but come on now. I mean, at least Silver's innocent enough that he would just actually show up there with his jammies and the idea of making s'mores.
Yeah. I like it. Chaos Sonic 1 is back with another super chat. Is it wrong that every time you say knowing smile, I think of the penguin saying smile and wave?
The penguin saying smile and wave.
I'm thinking that's the, is that a Madagascar thing?
Maybe. I never saw any of those.
I never did either. I'm sorry.
Although I did have
is
a
it
boss-
wrong? I probably not. It's okay. Just smile and wave.
Whatever
Okay.
entertains you.
It is penguins
greatest-
of Madagascar, yes. They just sit there smiling and waving, like just don't do anything, just sit there, smile and wave.
All right. My greatest exposure is Madagascar is I had a boss once who said I reminded him of the king of the lemurs. And I wasn't sure if that was a backhanded compliment or not.
Here's a question from Godzilla. Why doesn't Sega love Omega more? I feel like he gets left out the most of all the Sonic characters. More Omega will bring world peace. Well, I mean, he might, because he probably would kill anybody who dares to go against that peace.
When there is no one left for war, there is only peace.
All right, and did you want to answer that one? Sorry,
I don't know. I don't know what the preferences are to Omega. I like him. I find him to be a hoot, but I can also see him as not really fitting with a lot of the cast design wise or thematically. So I don't know. I cherish our moments with Omega, but that's enough, I guess.
And we got another one from Chaos Sonic 1. Jeez, man. Since Spinball is canon now, how do you explain the multiple Chaos Emeralds? I have an idea, but I don't want to say it because of your rule on fan ideas. Thank you. Thank you for not saying it.
Either treat them as like falsy emeralds that
I mean,
he was using to power the thing.
We've had fake emeralds in canon before, so could be just
or
one of those.
Or just don't think too hard about it. I mean, Fighters had 8 emeralds.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic 1 had 6, Sonic 2 had 7, and that's the standard. It's one of those things that's just like Sonic Spinball happened. Eggman took over a volcano. Sonic beat him up. That's it. That's the story. That's all you really need to be worried about.
All right, here's a question from OzJam. In general, how do you feel with an extensive cast, but only focusing on those that are main characters and those that are just side characters, despite being a part of the cast that a part of that cast in some ways?
Sorry, go through that one again.
In general, how do you feel with an
Uh-huh.
extensive cast,
Uh-huh.
but only focus on those, but the only focus are those on main characters and those that are just side characters, despite being part of that cast in some ways? I
I
don't
think I get what's
I
going
don't
there.
know if I follow exactly, but
I think I get it. It's one of the hardships of having an extended cast in any narrative is you can't focus on all of them. Um, the central cast are the ones that are driving the narrative. They're the ones that you focus on. They have the stories to tell, and everything else is ancillary. If you have the opportunity to explore them and go down those divergent paths, that's great. But not every character can be the main character. Not everyone in the cast is going to get the same amount of attention. That goes for something more focused to something more sprawling. It's just the nature of how stories are built.
mm-hmm. And we got one last super chat from Chaos Sonic 1. Sonic Origins is a new start. Where does Sega Sonic Arcade take place now, since I thought Sega Sonic Arcade takes place before Sonic 1?
I don't want to get into too much detail, but after Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Hmm. Sonic Mania 2099 has a super chat. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who sends in super chats. How would you rewrite Sonic Forces? I've seen most would remove classic Sonic. I honestly would replace him with the Freedom Fighters, but what would you rewrite?
This is assuming that Forces was really finished narratively.
Hmm.
Uh I don't know. It's Forces goes in a lot of different directions. And short of we want a very dark and dramatic war story, I'm not quite sure what the message was, you know? Like Sonic Adventure, the story is that the sins of the past, if not properly addressed, come back to haunt the present generation, which is arguably the story of Sonic Adventure 2, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic and the Black Knight story is, you know, hardships are part of life. You can't deny the bad and only focus on the good. You can't stagnate for fear of things going bad. Those are pretty clear underpinnings. Sonic Heroes isn't anything so lofty. It's Eggman got replaced by Neo Metal, beat up Neo Metal. But that's, pretty straightforward. What is Forces' story? Is it the rookie coming up and becoming the hero that they didn't know they could be? Sure, but since they're largely mute and kind of ancillary to the central problem, which is Sonic disappearing, it feels like more of a side story. Is there a parallel with Infinite? Someone who was potentially powerless and then goes crazy once they're given all the power they want? That you could make something there, but it's not really there. That's a connection that you have to make yourself, and you have to really flex to make those two ends meet. Is it what would the world do without Sonic? Which apparently is fail. I don't like that, but that that seems to be what we were given. What do the characters do when they lose their iconic hero and trusted friend? That would be interesting to explore, but that would be more of that 6 month battle sequence and not, the war is already over. We're jumping ahead to when we get Sonic back. So I don't know. I feel like you'd have to take it back to formula. You have to go to the very core and say, what is the story, and build from there.
Mm-hmm. And we got another one from Excel Hedge. Thank you. Sonic Boom, Metal Virus Saga. How does it go?
Uh, Everybody treats it as the sniffles. They actively sneeze metal boogers on stuff, and that spreads the virus.
Eee. Ew.
The cure is they figure out that Mad Burger is so just dirt and nasty that it somehow counteracts the metal virus. Whatever's in those passable semi-meat faux consumption things undoes it. So it becomes this desperate attempt to force feed people Mad Burgers.
Mm-hmm.
The zombie apocalypse is storming the little patio, and you've got sticks like with a giant slingshot shooting burgers at people.
Mm-hmm.
And then Knuckles is fully cured, but he's still jumping like a seal, catching them out of the air. Knuckles, stop it. You're not sick anymore. Sure I am. I just need 5 more. Then I'll be sick. The punchline is it's all solved. And Eggman gets up from his nap and, oh, nobody's infected? Well, I guess it didn't work in the first place. On to the next plan.
Brilliant. Brilliant. All right. We got a question from Testing, and I want you guys in the chat, in the comments, to be nice. They ask, Laviere did make a point. Why did the desires of what you want to have happen in the plot take priority over good characterization for you?
I don't think I said that.
I don't know.
Or it's not-
They're not asking if you've said that. They're more asking. That seems to be the way you write, I think, is what they want to know. That's their interpretation.
But
That's their interpretation of what they take from your writing.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I disagree.
All right. And our last super chat for this episode is going to be from Mr. Krabs. Here's a fun crossover idea: Amphibia cross Sonic or Sonic cross Owl House crossover.
I haven't seen Amphibia yet, so have to pass on that. Owl House? Huh. Because their magic system is way different than anything Sonic really has. So maybe transplant like Sonic and a handful of the crew into the Boiling Isles and have them react to that. Let them be the guest stars alongside Luz and King. And Eggman is seeking something in the Boiling Isles, some kind of magical MacGuffin. He doesn't understand it, but it sounds like it's powerful, so he wants it. And his tech is nothing like what the folks in the wizarding world can comprehend. But now I can't remember, does human tech still work when it crosses over, or does it go defunct first thing? It works? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Loses his phone, and she charges it off of the thing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, his tech would be something that is comparable to their magic, if not somewhat superior, which would get Bellos interested in it. And he would be a little thrown for a loop considering what technology was like in his era. I don't know. You could go deep or shallow with that. It'd be fun either way.
Okay. I want to go back to Testing's question real quick because they paid for it. So, and they have a follow up to it. And their comment is, you outright said you had to have Shadow get infected for the plot. So Shadow had to act stupid instead of not getting. I don't know exactly what they were trying to say here. Instead of not getting infected. Okay, that's probably what they were trying to say. It is bad characterization. Most hated Shadow getting infected. So.
Well, yeah, folks didn't want Shadow infected and removed from the story, but that was the point of the story.
And that's what I think they're getting at.
To cause the discomfort.
Yeah, I think
the execution, yeah, that was not the best. I'll grant you that. That was for various mitigating factors. But the story itself, okay, I see where you're coming from. Well, that boils down to whether you enjoyed the story or not, and whether or not you agreed with that style of storytelling. And if you don't, then I'm sorry.
Okay. And I think that's it, guys. Please be nice in the chat. And in the comments. Do not, please. I will start doling out bans if you get nice, or if you get not nice. That's what I meant. All right, let's switch over to some standard questions to close us out and see how many of these we can blow through for in the next 18 minutes. MSP169 has a question. What are your personal favorite characters to have Belle be with in terms of how personalities would bounce off each other? And is there any characters you'd personally like to see Belle with?
Like to see her with the Chaotix more. I feel like there could be some fun to be had there.
That would be. I think that would be fun. Anybody with the Chaotix would be fun. Just who would be like totally exasperated with their shenanigans. But also Vector being the cool guy. Cool uncle.
Having her be like the travel mechanic with Gemerald might be interesting, given just how very different they are in terms of synthetic personalities.
Yes. Also, shout out to Game Apologist in the chat. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, and here's a question from Darker. Was Supersonic against Enerjack stronger than usual, as Enerjack says Supersonic was using his power, and Sonic was absorbing the energy took from Affinitivus meant to recharge Enerjack?
No, and really when you get down to it, what we've seen Enerjack do in the past should have been able to trump Supersonic, but this is Knuckle Enerjack. Knucklejack, Energy Knuckles. That's what we had. He's not as smart as Dimitri was. He's not going to think about atomizing or existing on different planes of reality or anything short of just lateral, I have power, I nuke you. So, arguably, Energy Knuckles should have just completely stopped Supersonic, but it's Knuckles thinking with Knuckles' tactics, and that's just two blunt forces smacking against each other.
We got a question here from Rez. When will see things being as strong as Solaris again?
Hopefully never, because that's real tiresome. Once you set the bar to reality destroying God, you can't go any higher, and then it just becomes repetitive. I'm kind of hoping that Solaris stays like the top, and we don't go back to that anytime soon.
Here's one from Clara V. Even if she is not male nor a hedgehog, could Surge turn super as she has Sonic's abilities?
Maybe. Or something comparable could be cool. We'll just have to wait and see. It's too early to be thinking about that. We need to see more of Surge in her own right before we start adding power levels or transformations.
And we got a question from Star Sprite. Did Time Eater create the End of Time, aka Boss Arena dimension?
I don't know. Maybe that was an Eggman thing with Time Eater's powers. Hard to say.
And we got a question from Friendly Mushroom. That's how they wrote it.
I know.
Okay. Fan since you started at Archie. When taking over an ongoing artistic project, how important do you think it is to respect the original vision versus taking things in your own new direction?
I think it's very important when joining a legacy project to contribute rather than take over. I know that's going to be taken in different directions by different folks. I mean, you definitely want to contribute your own thing to it, but you should at least be beholden to what came before. Even if you really, really didn't like it. Like when I came onto the Archie stuff way back in the day, I wanted it to be more recognizable to the general Sonic brand. And I had wanted to address a number of lingering plot points and, characters I didn't like, do something with them that made them more interesting or fun, or, at the very least move them out of the way so other stuff can be there. But I also wanted to honor what came before, because I grew up on those books. They were the comics I read the most consistently, and I got to add to that quilt. There had been talk when I came on to just do a straight reboot. And I remember my blood running cold on that call. I'm like, please do not make me the guy who killed the Sonic book that I grew up on. Please, 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 please. I can work with what's here. Trust me. We can get a lot of mileage out of this. Please, let's stick with the continuity that we have and that I love. Can we just build on the foundation that's here, please? And we did, and we got a lot of mileage out of it, and got to follow up on a lot of stuff and explore avenues that had been long forgotten. Probably should have stayed forgotten in some cases, but damn it, I'm a turbo nerd. I wanted to look into it. So
And here's a question from Joshua J. Sega quantum leaped into the body of Yuji Naka and decided to base the first Sonic game on one of the other hedgehogs, Shadow, Silver, Amy, or Metal. Who do you choose?
hard to say, given those are all built in the context of Sonic.
Yeah.
Amy existed as Sonic's fan / possible girlfriend. Metal Sonic exists as Sonic's metal antithesis. Shadow is the dark version of Sonic. They don't exist outside of that comparison. Silver's probably about the most freestanding of them.
Just have it take place in his time period instead or something.
Yeah, but even then, he is so far removed that he almost feels like he's a different game. That you have to find an excuse to link him back to Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a very different style of gameplay. I don't know if his particular brand of TK stuff would work as a simple speed platformer, because Sonic was built to show off the processing speed of the Genesis. And Silver is, what little we've seen of his gameplay, is very slow and methodical and thoughtful, which would not be that unless.
Well, you could switch
thought is
switch it over to how many things are on screen at once, how much absolute
maybe.
mayhem you can cause by, TKing everything in the level around you or something like that.
So almost like a 2D Katamari Damacy, but with psychic powers and a hedgehog.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe. I don't know. It's so divorced from what we got. It's kind of hard to conceptualize.
Yeah, it would be kind of like how they originally conceptualized Sonic as picking up and throwing items. Feels like that's kind of what that would be. It's probably actually what Shadow was, or not Shadow, Silver was kind of based on. Might have been their thought. Was like, what if we had a Sonic character that picked up and threw stuff like we originally thought Sonic was going to do? I wonder. And we got a question from Orange Blues. Does Metal 3.0's appearance in Speed Simulator mean he is usable? What about 2.0, who has only ever appeared as a costume in Rivals? Also, was Shard supposed to be the Archie counterpart of 3.0?
He's supposed to be an homage, yeah. Speed Simulator is its own thing, so don't read too much into it, as delightful as it is. I need to sit down and actually play it at some point.
I've seen people throw it around, and I figured it was not canon, so. But people throw things around in there that are, or throw it around as being canon, so. I kind of figured it wasn't.
It's what we were talking about earlier. It's that beautiful continuity-free, just have fun with the franchise thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't worry about where it fits. Just celebrate the fact that it's Sonic and goes fast, and you grab things, and there are Chow, and there are different characters, and all that. I really need to sit down and play it at some point.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question from Uncle Ben's Gaming Dungeon. Here's one to make you squirt. Surge the Tenrek versus Sonichu, the electric hedgehog Pokemon. Who wins? We all lose.
I think that's the best answer.
Here's one from XChew3000. Since Tails was able to share his hyper form in Sonic 3 and Knuckles way before Sonic could do it, if it was Tails who went super in Heroes, could he have shared an actual super form with Sonic and Knuckles? Interesting thought. Probably wouldn't have done it that way.
I see where they're coming from.
But yeah, I get it, yeah. Because he's got the flickies.
The super form.
Yeah.
Huh. But that's Hyper Tails, because if I remember correctly, there isn't a Super Tails.
There isn't, no. Well, Super Tails is the one you get for getting all the Hyper Emeralds.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's always so confusing.
I know.
And he doesn't look super. He's got kind of the trappings of the hyper, but no, I guess he's just kind of white flashing. Anyway, point is he can convey the power. Why didn't he do it in Heroes? I feel like that's too deep of a cut for the game at the time.
I mean, the Chaotix were a really deep cut at that time.
Yeah,
they were already diving deep with that one. I don't know, man.
I almost feel like Heroes itself is kind of a reinvention of Chaotix. Multiple characters all bound together in one way or another. Your main villain is Metal Sonic, who turns into a giant evil version of Metal Sonic. The special zones are a giant tube that you can run around in any direction. Chaotix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
don't have a satisfying answer for you.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Maybe we can headcanon that. That's the Sonic Heroes AU. Here's one from Beyond the D. I really hope the next Tails Tube doesn't retcon the Mania timeline to just being part of Sonic's past. That element fits perfectly, unlike Two Worlds, which is full of inconsistencies.
Mania is a classic title, therefore it is in the past.
All right, here's one from XSpineXXX. Why does Kit have Sonic Sphere and Surge have Tails' Sphere? Was this a conscious choice by Starline?
No, that was something that the fandom put together, and I'm like, huh, that's kind of funny.
So it was a complete coincidence? You didn't actually plan that?
Nope. It was Surge was built around the idea of, what's faster than the speed of sound? The speed of light. What's a cool way to render that? Lightning.
Uh-huh.
A power surge keeps with the S theme. All right, cool, great. And I've wanted to do something with the artificial chaos for a while. And that and conceptualizing Kitsunami, everything kind of fit together. And yeah, cool, great. Water pack works with the water, works with the tendrils, works with the multiple appendages angle. I get the funny pun name. Groovy. Oh yeah, there's that other element to it. Neat. Which just goes to show how freaking creative the Sonic fandom is.
I just am I'm kind of taken aback by that. I didn't expect that. I thought it was intentional. Wow.
I mean, yeah, of course it was. I'm a genius.
I don't know. All right, let's see if we can blast through 3 more questions, Ian. Real quick. This one is from Andrew393415. The Sonics of the Multiverse, Classic, Archie, IDW, Fleetway, Boom, and X-Meat. How would these Sonics interact as a team, and would they possibly disagree on things along the way? We've answered this one before.
Oh, yeah. Head on over to the Master List Q&A and look that one up.
Yes. And we got one from Woke Oak. You really opened my eyes to the wonders of PB&J, but I'm wondering, what are your guys' coffee preferences?
I don't drink coffee.
I like a little coffee with my sugar, or sweetness at least. Honestly, I'm not I can do dark coffee, but I don't like it. So
I can't.
yeah.
I've never found a blend that I like, and once you start adding that much cream and sugar to it, I feel like I might as well just get something that I like rather than try to force the coffee into something palatable. I'm not a coffee guy.
Mm. Yeah, I like iced coffee, cold coffee, stuff like that. I'm not really a huge into hot coffee, warm,
Now
anything
up
like
here,
that. So
every now and again I'll grab a ice cap from Tim's, but that's more of a milkshake that happens to have a shot of espresso in it.
yeah, those are good though. I like that. Yeah, thank you, Ian, for introducing me to Tim's, because
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
had to
good.
cut back on those. That when you start to get regular large, and that's a lot of espresso in your system.
That place is dangerous. Danger. All right, and our last question for this month comes to us courtesy of Rhythm Raccoon. Why?
Because
And that's gonna do it for this edition of the BumbleKast Live.
see, I have been prepared for that one because I used to work in an aftercare. All right. I had numerous small children learn the why game and hit me up with that. And that was my answer. And it was always delightful because they would go, Mr. Flynn, why? And I'd say, because. And there would be that momentary pause on their end where they go, wait, he gave me an answer. No, let me try this again. Yeah, but why? Because. And then it would click. Oh, he's sassing me. And then we'd spend like the next solid 5 minutes going back and forth. Why? Because. Why? Because. And they'd either, crack up or they'd start to get frustrated. And I don't want them to be frustrated. So then we change topics to do something more entertaining. But yeah, if you've got a 3 to 7-year-old niece, nephew, younger sibling, cousin, whatever, and they start hitting you with the why question, there's your answer. Because. That is your sound of one hand clapping.
Why?
Because.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
And if they, in the really crafty ones, when they say because why, you say because.
There you go.
And then you just keep adding more becauses in the line, and then they crack up, and you're free.
I'm being told by Jennifer that because also works on middle schoolers.
I never worked with middle schoolers, but I'd see it.
If that doesn't work, magic. It's different coming from a science teacher.
All right. Do we have any leftover super chats?
We got 3. Do you have time to blow through them? You said you gotta go, so I don't want to
Let me check one
hold you
real
over.
quick. Hold on.
Okay. We have 3 last super chats, so we're gonna see if we can answer them today. If not, we'll roll them over into
super quick,
priority.
super quick. Let's burn through it.
Okay. All right. Then we'll do it. All right.
And then I got a hard bounce.
We'll get these. This one from Anthony S. Tales comic. Ancient Walker said emeralds fell from space.
Ah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Much appreciated. Why did he change it? I don't know. He changed a lot of things.
Well, he has said that he didn't really acknowledge any other writer's contributions to the series, so
And
that's his word, not mine.
And we can tell. So Laura Stain has a question. Are badniks dangerous? Can me and my friends grab our wispons and go to town, or would we be in real danger since we wouldn't have plot armor?
If you didn't have any kind of armament, yes, you would be in danger. I imagine that to the average person and bit of wildlife, badniks are an actual threat. You can't fend it off with a broom. But if you have a wispon, which is a firearm powered by an alien that is pure energy, provided that there's some kind of recoil dampener, you should be fine. If you can aim.
All right, and our last question for real. Our last super chat. Thank you all for asking questions and sending super chats and everything today. You guys are awesome. It's from JJ Slider. Sometimes the game strategy guides adds unique lore tidbits, like saying Crisis City is an alternate timeline. How canon are they to the main series?
I would say grain of salt at best. Um, I I can't say to what degree any of these strategy guides are scrutinized by the folks who do manage any of the plotline stuff. So, and strategy guides may be working off of earlier material, and what comes out finalized is revised in some cases. Like I remember in Sonic 06 specifically, there was the official strategy guide had listing for the silver medal, so that was not accurate to the final game placement. So I would take what's presented in game first and foremost, what comes from official media channels next, stuff like Tails Tube or anything officially released. And then nowadays the comics would be fairly reliable because they're much more in line with the mainline stuff. Beyond that, grain of salt.
All right. Well, that is it then. That's all we got. So thank you so much to everybody for
And we mean that
questions.
everybody.
Yes, for submitting questions and super chats and everybody. You guys, it's great. So we love doing these. They're very fun.
We'll see you Monday for the replay of this. And then Wednesday and Friday, we have special content. So there's going to be no break this time at the end of the month and into the first. It's this BumbleKast train just going to keep on rolling.
Time to
Have yourselves
fire up the editing machine.
have yourselves a lovely weekend. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next month for the live stream and see you this coming week for more BumbleKasty goodness.